But you've been good.
Yeah, I've been all right, thanks.
That's good. That's good. So I just saw this last week when we was on holiday, and I wanted to obviously find the time to backtest this, which is what we're gonna be doing today. But just to do a quick top down on this, we're basically bearish times three on this, okay? Um, so lower time frame is being maintained by this area up here. Okay, intraday is being maintained by this area up in here, I believe. Let me pull up. Hold on. Yeah. So where is yeah, so intraday is being maintained here, lower time frame is being maintained here, and then higher time frame is being maintained by this area up in here. So but again, we're not going to go too much into that. So basically, we're bearish times three. We're mainly looking for sells. Um, yeah, so we're mainly looking for sell, and this is the price action that we saw. Now this I know looks like a bunch of um a lot of schematics. You know, we can see some sort of accumulation came in here again. It failed to take this supply point here. But overall, the only thing I care about is the fact that we came here and we made a new low. So essentially, this is the leg that I gotta be worried about. None of this here matters. None of this in here matters. I don't care the fact that he broke here and then he broke again. It was this. This was the previous leg. Clean some of that. Yeah, this was the previous leg. Now we made this low, so this is now the leg that we got to work on. Um, Saying that, this is somewhat the slingshot that caused the leg. Okay, again, this is all order flow as well, by the way, right? As I said, lower time frame is being maintained up in here, so this is all order flow, which means that we will have to reduce our risk going into it. So this is our slingshot, and this here is our extreme of the order flow leg. Now coming into this, so we could see, you know, price essentially making its way back up into here. Came into this slingshot. There was a nice selling opportunity here, enough for us to take some partials to cover our risk to go to break even, and then we'll go into that. But that's not the one that I want to go over. I want to go over something else. But just very quickly, there is a nice clean distro up in here. Um, and yeah, it's this one, right? So even if you were to just simply put from this low to this high, there, right? We could see we tapped right into that 80%. Now, this might not be a limit position because that's about 30 odd pips. And also
Yeah.
this is the slingshot, right? Because the extreme is up in here. So this is the slingshot that caused that break. Coming into it, let's see.
You might wait for us to come in.
Yeah, exactly that, right? So what can we see? We can see some sort of distro in there. If we come down further, we can see this is our box, and we're trading inside that 50 and that 80. And this is currently our distro, with this being our trading range. Okay, and I like the fact that we have swept these Asian highs. So I'm just gonna put, yeah, this Asian highs swept. Um, Asian highs. So we took those Asian high, and then again, we can see the sessions playing in with each other. We can see Frankfurt came in, took that. We can see we can see them taking out both the highs and the lows, as well as making a new low, giving us that sign of weakness. Okay, and then obviously this would have been the play that we would have looked at. So let's look at if we did get something into it. So the first thing I guess we could do is just to find some sort of confluence. Let's go back some more. So as soon as we punched in this low, we will start looking into that. I like the fact that this is a Thursday as well. Now I just want to look for that full volume candle up in here. So let's try maybe going in fives. There's 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, so it's I'm assuming it's something between 36, 37, 38, 39 is a good one. Try 41, 42, 44. Okay, we're starting to lose it a bit. Trying that 65. Right, so it was around that 40. It was around that 42 mark. Okay. Um, maybe even that 39, 38. Let's try that 39, eh? Okay, so from that 39, we could see this was there. Okay, so there's some sort of confluence. No. So yeah, there's the 80 of that whole move, and there's that 80 of that full volume candle. I don't quite like that. I want to say maybe 90. I want to get like a big, nice candle. See if you can find it. Okay, something around that 60. Oh yeah, that's 61. No, we'll play that 61 is good. There to there. Okay, so there's some sort of very small difference there between that 80, but that's something that we can work with. And we just reduce that 30 pip stop loss to about a 10.3. Now I guess we could go further into it. Let's look for any imbalance into it. Let's go into like a 9 minute. 8, 6, 7. Oh, I like that 7 as well. So we can clearly see the imbalance in here, right?
Yeah.
Imbalance in there. Okay, so we're currently creating a story for us as to where the sellers could potentially come in. Okay, we could see this was the Frankfurt session coming in, as well as London session started coming as well, and then that created that new low that took us outside of that trading range. And then now, we'll just need to look for some pullback. Okay, we're getting some sort of pullback. So for me, I like to just see if we're getting a premium selling. Okay, so there's our 88.8 and there's our 80. So if we look, we're getting where's my yeah there. We're getting this is 80 from the Fibo, 80 from the whole move, and then we're getting 80 from that full volume candle that we saw. So this area here is looking good for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look for some sort of sell.
Confluence. Is that what you call confluence?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna get something like that in there. And again, where would the first target be? So the first target would just be that low. Then the second target would be
Sorry, what low? Show me that low again.
this low here. This low. So that's the first target. Then the second target would be taking about this low. The third target would be to go and make a new lower time frame low. And then the fourth and the fifth for me, I'll just use those as hedge. Okay. So essentially, the first thing that we're looking to do is we're looking to make a new low here. That's the first thing that we're looking to do. That will give us about a 12 to 1. So that's a decent trade. Okay. So having said that, we can see that it tapped into that 50%. Depending on whether if you wanted to have a limit at that 50%, somewhere there, and then split the risk. So about there, it's about the same, 13 to 12 here. That 50% entry would give you a 10 to 1, which is also reasonable. So I would pretty much, focus more on that 80% because as I said, I've got more of a confluence there, whereas here the 50% is a bit gapped out. So let's see what we do when we come back into it. Okay, so we're in that 50 again, and then we just seem to have sold off. So not tapped in from the 80, tapped in from the 50, which I'm not personally in. But and then the way that it did so, there was no kind of like, no entry from for me in here. I don't really see X in distro either. So that's cool. Now we'll just have to wait and see, what's going to happen. Um, this one here. Okay. So that was pretty much it for me. Now, the only other thing I wanted to see now was essentially to go and make a new low. Once we go and we make a new low, because let's not forget, this is our extreme, this is our slingshot. So I'll just be looking for price to make a new low. The moment we make a new low, then this is what will be holding order flow. So then when price comes back out, we can then look to take another entry to go down. So that's the first thing I'll be looking for to see if price gives us that new low. There's no like re-entry, nothing for me as of yet. Okay. And just pay attention to how we failed to even break that order flow here. Because essentially this is that low, this is that high, this is that higher low, this is that higher high. So this is what's holding that bullish order flow. And this distribution here failed to make that new low. So this is, I guess, sign one as to why we shouldn't really take a re-entry. And also the fact that we are currently in Friday session now. But nonetheless, let's see what happens. Okay, so now we have, right, so we've played more into that 50% again, just what seems to be like profit taking, but no, nothing, no crazy ones. Cool. So now this one we was away, and then I saw this obviously I can't remember when the fourth was. I wanna say maybe that was a Tuesday. Let me just double check. The 4th of August, which was obviously just this last week. Sorry, it was a Thursday. So Thursday I was on the way home, so I want to delete all of this, all of this, all of this, because essentially it didn't do anything now. Right. Looking into this, so this was that news candle here. Okay, this was, what was it? It was the interest rate going from 1.5 to 1.775, and obviously that had an impact on the GBP pair here. And I was trying to look at this, but of course I was outside of my trading session, outside of my trading station, so I couldn't really see anything. But when I was, had a quick look at it, I saw that we were trading up into this bigger candle. We were trading up into that 50% and that 80%. And also, we distributed quite nicely in here. There are some unmitigated part, which I've got limits for when we come back and we look into it, but it was just so clean. Look at the consolidation before the market news and look at the manipulation of it. We took previous sessions, what's it called? New York and London, and we took out obviously the Asian highs and Asian lows with this manipulation. Um, so this was something that I couldn't really, grab. I don't trade news anyway, so it was just something that I was just watching, nothing that I could do. But the one thing that really paid me that really got my attention next morning was this. So we know our market cycles, right? We know that where's my box? We know that we got a distro, and where did the distro occur? It occurred in the extreme of that leg, which is this. Okay, so we're trading up into the extreme of it. We have tapped into this area here. So we can also look for confluence in that. Something like that. We can see we tapped about 50% into it, into that last push up. So the extreme of the order flow leg, and we trade about 50%. We're into 80% of that whole move here, and we've distributed. So the next thing then is to look for an entry, the continuation entry. So I was either looking for price making this low, and then coming up, or if price was to redistribute itself here, because again, we know the market cycle is distribution, redistribution, going into an accumulation that could potentially hold or redistribute again. So this is what I was watching, and then I saw this. Redistro here. Okay, so I'm just gonna label it redistro, but I'll go over it. So obviously this was Thursday, price action, New York, and then we're going into Asian here. The next morning we took out the Asia, this being our trading range here. Okay. And I don't really class this as anything because this was Asian session, right? And then we can clearly see our creek, right? So again, all I wanted to see was this low getting taken, because then it would have been the Asian high and Asian low got swept, and then I'll be looking to play out of that manipulation, out of that mitigation here. So the next thing I needed to wait on was that break. So there's that break that we needed. Of course, it would have been nice for us to get this as well if you wanted, for like a double confirmation, and I believe we got that as well. Okay, so we came outside of that trading range. So now when I was looking into it, the 38-minute looked really nice. Okay, there was the 38-minute. And there's the 50 and the 80, and again, there is no reason as to why I won't split a limit in here. Okay, we'll talk about the targets in a second, but there's the 50 and there's the 80. The 80 actually put that up to that wick there. So about 7.4, 7.5. And then, yeah, that one just a little bit into it. I'll give it maybe like 10 pips there. Okay, and we're looking to target this new low here. So this would give us a 10-1 from the 50, and this would give us a 14-1. Okay, so the risk to reward is there. The structure is behind us, the order flow is behind us. So yeah. Cool. Now we just have to, so limit set. Let's see what we do. 59.35. 59.35. So this is order flow. This is gonna be 0.05 on each that's gonna be $25. 59.35. 35. 25.47. Okay, and then same thing on that one. Sorry, this is 7.4. 7.4. 25. 25.47 as well. Okay, so in total about 50 bucks into this risk, because as I said, it's order flow. Okay, so that's what we got into. Now we just have to wait. So still, so this was London Open here as well. Okay, and we got into from end of New York actually. Okay, end of New York would tap you in. And then from there, let's look at our what's it called? Trade management. Now inside this, there was also another clean entry, which we will get in a second. So this is our distro. Essentially it's our micro distro. Okay, and that's something that we got to wait on. Okay, for me personally, unless it came back straight away, like here, then that's something I can take. If not, then I'll need it to break a low, and then that's something I can throw a little bit of risk on. So that's cool. But now we have gone ahead and we have reduced our risk, reduced risk because we punched in this new low. When we come up somehow and then make a new low up here, I'll go to break even, which I guess in this case is the same because it's reduced risk for this. But I guess I would maybe move it a little bit into profit given the spreads and commission and whatnot for some of us. So let's see what we do inside of that. So there's a pullback. Okay, so now here I would have gone to break even. And then next thing as well, the next down, the next pullback, I'll pay risk. So I'll pay $25. Okay, so there's Asian. Okay. Yeah, here. So what the hell? There you go. So here, pay risk, and that's this one here. So we're currently sitting at just over $1,000. No, sorry, 51007.59 minus what's in account 50935. So we're currently seeing over $72 here profit. We'll take 25 out. Okay. So we'll take $25. Pay risk. Yeah. Cool. Now let's see. So now we've come into the next trading day. And we've come into it in a different way, meaning we kind of repeated the same thing over here. So, by the way, this now I'm gonna delete this because the 50 got activated and we did come quite far. So now this, if we look into it, gave us a nice entry. Well, sorry, gave us nice clean price action. We've got another redistro inside of this now new order flow market cycle, and it done the same thing again. It took out Asian highs, took out Asian lows, and then this was Frankfurt here. So with this, if we can punch in a new order flow low here, there's absolutely no reason as to why we can't come back up into here and then get another entry in. And if you look into it, it came right into this micro distro up in here. If you were to do that and that, it came right into that 50 and that 80. Okay. So
I
again,
get,
same. What was that?
I get that. So if it does sweep it, then you look for an entry out of Frankfurt there, yeah? Is that Frankfurt?
Yeah, so this is Frankfurt session, and we're currently looking for Frankfurt to come in, and then pretty much for like New York to help us get back up into where we can get into another entry, and then go down. Yeah, so that's what we'll be looking for. Again, this was something that I guess we could got into. We're given that the micro inside here, given the fact that we're trading up into this manipulation here. Um, So it's really up to whether someone wanted it or not, but the price action was there. And even if they were to split the risk between that 50 and that 80, not quite got that 80, but definitely got into the 50 with a 3 point stop, even if you were to get it to like a 4. Yeah. And then here, just to make this new low, that's already a 6 to 1. Going to where we want to go, which is punching in that new low. Okay, that would give you a 14 to 1. So that was the opportunity there from this one here. But let's just say we missed that. Okay, let me just leave that one. Let's just say we missed that. We want to now trade the continuation of this. So yeah, let's see what we do. Okay, so come into it. All right, so there's now that new low. Okay, and there was the pullback, I guess. Yeah. So seem like, let's see if we can find a nice candle for this as well. 7. Quite like that 22. So even with that 22 there, if we were to just do that, we'll see if we could get, so this is where I would set a limit into that 50 to there. Oh, sorry, into that 80 here, and then another one from that 80 to here. Okay, and then again, we're looking to punch in this new low here, right? And then we leave some partials to go and make this new low here, which would be a 13 to 1. But first we're gonna look at that low there. So that's where one I would definitely look to throw an entry. Let's see if we get anything. Okay, no, so price seems to have come back into that open of that 22 minute. And then straight away just from there just dropped off. I wonder if it came into maybe the whole thing. No, not quite. Okay. Well, either or, there was a little something there. That for me, I would class that as a missed opportunity. Nothing that we could do, unfortunately. So we move on. Um, okay, but here now we're gonna have to take partials here. Okay, partials taken. Okay, now what we'll be working on is we'll be working on obviously making that new low here. That's where we'll be taking more partials up in there. Okay. All right, so that's your 10 to 1 there. Let's see if we get that. Okay, so there we go. There's your 10 to 1. Now, funnily enough, there was a hedging opportunity. Okay, so far do we get where we are? Yeah. So now this is our new order flow leg, isn't it? I can't hear you if you're talking, by the way.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So now this is our new order flow leg, isn't it? Because we punched in this new low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now out of this, if I were to maybe hide everything, can we see how this is our redistribution and this is our distribution, and this was our MC, this is what's holding that leg, and this is our SC, this is what caused that break. So now essentially we can look for another entry up in here. So ideally that 80% that's still intact, and then this manipulation here where we can have something. So that would be my next selling opportunity. But over here, I could see a buying opportunity coming. And that would be the hedge because obviously we're in from that sell now. We've already taken two partials. Let's just say we took 25% each, so that's about half of our position which we took. So looking at this, there was an opportunity, and even if you were just to do that to that, okay, and if you were to look at that to that, and we can see that we've got some sort of confluence into there. And I believe let's just 6 minute. If he was looking at like I think it was 8 minute. Can't remember where it was now. Oh, maybe it was the 19, 18. So looking at that one, we're looking at this where the most volume was. So again, we can see the same thing where X was marking up the spot up in here somewhere. Okay, so this way we could go down into it, and the reason why I was looking at this as a hedge was pretty much because of the time session, right? Now, it was in from that sell here, okay? So we're just trying to hedge ourselves into it again, simply because this was cooking up a nice schematic. You know, we've got the booth inside here, we've got Frankfurt that took out Asia, and we've got New York now coming into it. So if we could get a little micro schematic, I don't mind hedging in a buy from here to come up into our first selling position to the SC, see if that holds with a distribution. If that doesn't hold, then we'll take it right up to the extreme, where we could then again get into another sell. Yeah, bro. All right, man. No worries, man. It's cool. Where's my clear eraser? There you go. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's what we'll be looking for. Now let's drop back into it and let's see what we do. Okay, so we're coming up into it. We're now into that 50 and that 80. Let's see whether we get anything. So this is when I was looking into it and we got that break here. Yeah, there you go. We got that break here. So I was looking into this 1 minute here to see if we could get into something. Something like that to then take it up. Okay, even to make this new high here was a 13-1. Okay, and we tapped into it from here, and again it was within the session, so 2:30. And then this is where I went to reduce risk. And I like the fact that we've kind of distributed it a bit, give us a shakeout, and then we made that booth. All right. So from there now, that's it. Reduce risk up to here. If we get something like this to come back up, I'll go to break even. So in from that sell, looking in from that buy. Now, well, that's it. Now we just have to let price do whatever it needs to do. Fast forward some more. Price came and then pretty much hit my reduced risk here. And then it just went. It did give us another opportunity to come into it because if you were to look at it, this was the next price that we would trade into it. Now, I think obviously here it didn't, but with the broker, this is the spread that got me. So yeah, so I don't know if I would class this as one, but there was another opportunity if you were to look at it where you could look at this as the 80, and then this right here would be your stop loss to get into it. And then again, this also gave you the opportunity to go to reduce risk and then potentially even take some partials. But essentially what it did was it played into this distro and then we just kind of collapsed from there. Okay, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with it because you know the way that I saw it was same thing like we saw with the sell, but obviously sellers, which we knew that already, right? Because selling times 3. This was a little hedge play to see if it could get us back up into that. It had some real estate to it. This was about another 80 pips. And then this to the extreme was about 180 pips. So had something to it. And then with something like a free pip stop loss, there was pretty much no reason as to why we don't take that risk. So now the same plan of attack stands, where we just have to let price do its thing, come up into that slingshot where we can look for the sell, or come up into the dish MC, and then we look for that sell. Um, so yeah, so that's pretty much it. That was what I was looking at last week. It gave us, I really wanted this entry, but again, there was no way I could have got into that. Um, yeah, I was pretty much looking more into here with that imbalance in there, but it didn't never give us that 80% tapped into that 50, and then from there just distributed. But this redistro was a great move. Yeah, I think I've really been liking Gbchf, especially in the morning. Um, you know, I like the fact that it does all of this nonsense and it gives us some nice entries in it. So yeah, that was pretty much it really. And then I think from there, this is where we are today. So this entry here gave us about a 16 to 1 on this, which is yeah, which is pretty sweet. So we'll look at what tomorrow brings. We'll see, obviously look at this Asian in here. Now this also is creating something nice. See that in there? Give us a boost, took out the Asian high. So we'll see what happens there. If I can get a nice Asian consolidation tonight, and then Frankfurt pops back up into here, and then we give us that boost, then that's something that we can all play to even try to take it up in there as again as a hedge. That's what it would be. Because yeah, we'll have to obviously look at what's happening in here. So cool. But yeah, but that was pretty much it. Is there any questions?
Now,
Yeah, was that all clear?
yeah, thanks.
Cool, awesome. But I think other than that, I don't same thing like what Mike was looking at today. Was what I was looking at. Um,